Hello, this is the Haunted Informer, and today I'm giving you my 2020 review of Night of Terror in New Jersey. So I went to the Night of Terror at Creamy Acres Farm in New Jersey and had a really good time. I went with my friend Fall Ritual. Check out his YouTube channel, Fall Ritual, and his Instagram and his Facebook. We got general admission tickets for the earliest time slot at 6:30, so we got there before the bigger crowds were coming with the different time slots. And we went on the hayride first. We didn't have to wait very long because the crowds had just started. What was interesting was they were actually queuing the hayrides, and what I mean by that is they were filling mobile wagons with people, socially distant, and they had like 3 wagons sitting before any of the wagons went. And we were actually on the first wagon, which was really cool, and we went through all the attractions first for that night, and we had a great time. There was lots of interesting effects, lots of animatronics that would lunge out at the wagon, and definitely different standout scenes was the monkey scene, where you have to see a whole bunch of crazy monkeys in cages yelling at you, and there's a monkey scare actor on a catwalk above you. That was a really cool scene. I hadn't seen that at any other attraction, a whole scene dedicated to monkeys. I thought that was interesting. The first scene on the hayride really set the tone for the attraction, and it is an interesting effect. I'm not going to ruin it for you. You have to go and see it for yourself. I really enjoyed it, and it was definitely unique. I hadn't been on any other hayride that did this effect. If you are scared of chainsaws, you're in for a terrifying ride because there are mobile scenes with chainsaw-wielding maniacs, so be ready for that. This hayride had a clown scene, but they did it with a twist, something I never seen at another haunt before. They actually had a net over the wagon, and there were clown actors on that net above you, scaring you. One of the scare actors actually did a somersault and then was yelling at you from above and actually said, "Why won't you stay and play with me?" And I thought that was so cool. I'd never seen a net over a hayride scene, especially with actors doing somersaults, so I was really impressed by that scene. And what was really nice about the scene as well is when you went into it, it was dark, and then all of the lights turned on. They were all black lights, and all of the 3D effects really stood out on the walls. Throughout the Night of Terror, you will experience really loud sounds, ranging from really loud horns to what sounds like really loud gunshots. And they had one scene on the hayride where one after another, really loud gunshots went off. And when that effect went off, we were right next to it, so it was really, really loud. So I definitely want to emphasize that they are very loud sounds, and they will catch you off guard because you don't know when they're going to happen, and it's startling. During the hayride, you will encounter mobile large animatronics of a blue dragon and the Jersey Devil himself. So it was definitely interesting, and those are really eye-catching. Then we got off the hayride and went into the walking trail, the Harvest. This trail started out with the classic scarecrow scene for a haunted trail, and then it kicks into high gear with different scenes like an interactive swamp where you actually walk past some cement and it looked like it was like bubbling and it looked really cool. And then there was actually waterfalls, active water actually falling next to you, and you had to walk on a bridge. There are lots of things covered with this haunted trail. There was actually a Christmas scene during it, which I did not expect one bit. I thought it'd be more of just the grungy, like dark scenes, and then they catch you off guard with this Christmas scene, and it seems lighthearted at first, with some evil elves, and they have some Christmas decorations up, and then there's actually even a demented Santa that comes out, and he's actually wearing Santa's face. It looks like a ripped-off face, and that mask is actually from Pumpkin Pulp Productions, and he was wearing that, and he came out, and he said, "Ho, ho, ho," and he said, "Merry Christmas." But then he started taunting my friend Glenn, and he was distracting him, and then that set up a scare for one of the evil elves to scare him, and that was really cool. That whole scene played out well, and I really appreciate the different themes they had on this trail. During the trail, you would encounter a dark maze, and when I say it's dark, it really was, and I had to touch the walls and feel my way out of there. It wasn't that long of a dark maze, but it felt intense because it really was dark and I had to find my way out, so that was definitely an enjoyable part. The loud sounds I was talking about earlier were used in this attraction as well, and they were used effectively, and they actually set up some scares where you were caught off guard by the loud sound and then a scare actor would scare you, so that was great. The way the attraction ended was you walked through foam, and what I mean by that is there was a whole bunch of foam on the ground, and there was foam coming out of the ceiling and landing on you. Some landed on my hair and made it wet, and there was a monster in there talking about how he wanted you to play with the foam. It was a lot of fun. I really liked that end. It was definitely a twist that I wasn't expecting, and I'd never actually gone through a haunt that had foam where you had to walk through it. I'd seen it before on the internet, but I never actually experienced it. It was a lot of fun. It didn't ruin my clothes. It dried off really fast when you kept on walking through the attractions, so you don't have to worry about that. On to the third attraction, the playground, and you got a pair of 3D glasses, and you had to walk through the attraction looking at all these 3D effects. This attraction was actually new for this year, and I really enjoyed this attraction. So there was tons of 3D effects everywhere. All the walls were 3D. They really played with the theme of a playground because during one part, you actually walked through an area where sand was on the ground, so it felt like you were actually walking through a sandbox. So that was really cool. I did not expect that. I really love that effect. Look above you. There's effects above you. There's effects to your sides. You can look down a hallway and see effects that you're going to walk up to. There is so much to see. All the actors' makeup and costumes lit up well with the black lights, and the actors that were wearing clown masks had UV reactive paint on it, so that glowed as well. There is a mix of good quality clown animatronics and clown scare actors in this attraction. I really liked the section where you saw the 3D effects of bubbles on both walls. That was really cool. I really liked that scene. And there were multiple slides in this attraction. Going with the theme of the playground, these clowns were very playful. They were going on slides. And there was an area where you felt like you were walking through the play place of like McDonald's or Chuck E. Cheese, where the kids play around in that. And there's tubes, and they have those big globes that you can look out and look at your parents. So if you're the kid, you walk in there and you can look through that little globe there and look down at your parents and wave to them the way back. They effectively used that during the attraction. There were multiple parts where you saw that tubing, and there were some scares with that, so I really enjoyed that theming. The playground ended with a vortex tunnel, and there were actually 3D effects on the tunnel when it was going around, so you can look at that. So not only are you getting dizzy from the tunnel going around, and you're looking at that and feeling like you're looking sideways, but then you can look at those 3D effects, so that really was pulled off really well. After we got out of the playground, we really wanted to go through it again because it was so good, but you actually have to buy a ticket to go through all the attractions. We actually heard over the loudspeaker like a minute later that all the tickets were sold out for the night, and they highly recommend that you buy your tickets online. So the time slots were all sold out, and we were like, oh man, that would have been really cool to go through again, but we had a really good time in that attraction. The last attraction was called Dark Dreams, and as the name suggests, it was very dark. There were a lot of very dark corridors and hallways you had to go through, and some scenes were dark that would transition from a brighter room to then a dark hallway and then a brighter room. So they'd use some of the dark hallways for transitions, and I think it all worked well. And some areas were very tight where it was dark, and you had to walk through tight walls. So if you're claustrophobic, that would definitely scare you. They had a catacombs area with skeletons. I thought that was really cool. And there was also a section where you had to walk through a claustrophobic area that was pretty dark with bodies all over the walls. Multiple phobias were covered with Dark Dreams, ranging from going to an insane dentist to spiders. There were multiple large animatronics from Gorgalore used in this attraction. There was a giant werewolf, the Gorehound, and there was the giant rat. Dark Dreams ended with a vortex tunnel as well, but there were no 3D effects on the tunnel, but it was just as disorienting and a good time. After we went through all the attractions, we got some mini donuts. I actually got caramel mini donuts, and Glenn got some pumpkin spice mini donuts. It was $3 for 6 mini donuts, and you could choose multiple flavors. I have a picture of all the flavors here for you. So you had multiple choices. You couldn't mix and match with it, but you could get one flavor for all 6 of them, and that was really good. I enjoyed those. And there was a bonfire there with a s'mores stand. There are tons of photo ops at the Night of Terror. There are photo ops before attractions, after attractions, in the midway. There are so many things you can get pictures with. It's a very photogenic midway, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really good atmosphere with the bonfires and the mobile food vendors. You get mobile things ranging from funnel cakes, the hot dogs, the burgers, to cheesesteaks, and there are mobile sodas you could choose from. Then, of course, you could get the donuts or popcorn. So there's lots to choose from. Ended up getting a plain cheesesteak and an A&W root beer, and both of them were very good. And I also had to get a memento for this attraction because I liked it so much. I got a Night of Terror magnet, and I'll show you that right here. So I highly recommend going to Night of Terror this haunt season. You'll see different effects you haven't seen at other attractions. So go with your friends and go check out the Night of Terror. That was the Haunt Informer. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notification every single time I put up a new video. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find all those links in the description below. And what is your favorite attraction at the Night of Terror? And as always, happy hauntings.